Good day, everybody. 17th of August, 2023. It's about quarter to one, maybe 12:45 or so in the afternoon here in Belarus. Yes, it's hot. It's hot. Luckily, there's a breeze at the moment. Maybe it depends on where I'm standing. It's kind of a wide open area, as you see. Well, not on that side, but it's a parking lot by a shopping mall not far from Kamena Gorka. So, an interesting apartment building over there. Round like that. But you know, the normal crazy stuff going on in the news. Actually, there's a Domino's pizza right here. You want to see how it's written in Russian? Domino's pizza. Of course, a Burger King. You know, I'm noticing that lately a lot of people are talking about some things about going on from these pandemics, and well, not pandemics yet, but talking about shots in the arm. I don't know, you know, it's strange. I'm not allowed to talk about that stuff. They censor me immediately. They cut me off for a week or 2 weeks now, and now they're threatening me if I say anything, they're going to take me off permanently. They told me, talking about certain laboratories in Ukraine, or shots in the arm and sicknesses and things like that. I don't know. Strange. I can't. But I'm watching everybody else. They talk about it. They talk about things I would be censored immediately for. So anyway, I'm gonna make that walk. I think, how far is it? Maybe a half a mile in the heat of the day. But like I said, luckily, going this direction right now, I have a breeze coming at me. I worked up a sweat coming here. I was going to this building center, as you saw when I turned the video camera on. It's called Mila, and I just wanted to make the walk because it's a nice walk, even if there's traffic right up here. But it's I don't know, for some reason it's very pleasant. I didn't really ever have found so many places like this in the States. Not so much even in Germany, or definitely not in the Caribbean. It's not like they make places for people to relax and take a walk, but they have quite a few of these places like this in Belarus, not to mention all the parks. Very strange, you know, how everything's looked at in society. And mostly how it's done here is very much like it is in Russia. I assume Ukraine and maybe a lot of those former Soviet republics, I don't know. Poland, not quite sure. But it is like that here. A lot of nice places to go to take a walk. You know, probably better a little bit later when it's not so hot. But anyway, like I said, I was getting myself off the subject again. I was talking about, you know, how people are talking now about a new one coming up, a new sickness. And then so much talk, if you're paying attention, you know, but it's never the main topic of the news. But everybody's talking about laboratories and sicknesses. Like there was supposedly a new one related to this same virus that we had in 2020, 2021. But this one is in South Africa. I think it was called Iris. But I wrote that, I'm getting ahead of myself again. I wrote this a few days ago. Actually, I was going to do a video yesterday, but some people were coming and I had to stay inside most of the time. And by the time it was possible for me to leave, it was a little bit too late, and I didn't do that. So, you know, Victoria Nuland is allowed to say a lot of this stuff, but I'm not allowed to say that about what's going on and as far as sicknesses and Ukraine. But they're just researching it, you know. They're coming up with the cures for sicknesses before the sicknesses even happened. Isn't that amazing how that can happen? Very, very amazing. You saw that somebody in the NATO, they came out and were talking about territory for peace for Ukraine, and then they said, oh, well, that was a mistake or something. I don't know. But it wasn't a mistake, you know, and eventually, obviously, as everybody knows, that's what's going to happen. And all NATO knows this. But again, they act like they're going to, it seems so futile, and forgive me for smiling, but sometimes you just cannot believe, how stupid human beings can be, you know. Unless they're waiting for some weapon, what it called, wonder weapon. And the only wonder weapon that can come about, because they've even admitted the F-16 is no wonder weapon, neither are these long-range missiles that Taurus that Germany is now supplying, but maybe in the form of something that creates a sickness, because they're working feverishly on that. And that was what I was starting to talk about here. You know, they're working on that as a wonder weapon. Boy, and when am I going to get across the street here? I guess I can walk at any time and the traffic has to stop for me. That's how it is in Belarus, you know. A lot of time you start walking and they have to stop. Whenever a pedestrian is coming, even babushkas. Nice old lady there. So, territory for peace. But I tell you what, even if they sign some sort of an agreement like that, do you think they're going to keep it? How well did the Minsk agreement go? And then they wait till after it's totally collapsed and said, well, we had no intention of ever following that. We were lying and we're going to cheat you ever from the very get-go. Gosh, it's incredible. Yeah, they admitted they tricked them to buy time to build a powerful military to attack Russia. Isn't that incredible? But yet they're nice guys. I can't see how Russia, Belarus, any of these countries can trust anything that these people say. It's incredible. Somebody wait for a bus? I don't know. I was saying Russia, my advice to them is to heed some ancient wisdom. Not very ancient, but very pertinent. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I don't know. I think a lot of people in Russia are pretty pissed off too, because Russia keeps trying to extend some trust. Eventually, you think you have to trust people. Otherwise, nothing ever gets accomplished. But it's very strange when they keep using, it's not just Russia. They do it to any of their handful of designated enemies. Iran, because they know that these countries, they won't come out and figure out some way to provoke a situation where they have to attack necessarily. That's normally what the West does, to make Russia attack or China to attack or something. As long as it takes, you know, all the way to the last Ukrainian. That's how it's going to go. I'll show you where I'm going here. Yes, as I said, a nice walk. Even if it's a hot day and there's traffic here, I like looking at the nice grass, and the buildings actually look nice. I don't know why it feels relaxing, but another story. This is actually one of the big stories. This is incredible. And I don't know, did anybody talk about that yesterday? Did this come out yesterday? Well, it did come out yesterday, but apparently, and I don't know if there's any names on who actually started reporting this, but they know the names of the people involved. And it was that MI6 has already prepared a sabotage unit of Ukrainian terrorists. You want to call them saboteurs or terrorists. The whole object of the game is terrorism, so I would say that those that are conducting it are called terrorists. You know, maybe you have a different name, but they didn't name them as terrorists. Maybe they're freedom fighters or something like that. Freedom fighters. But anyway, there's about 100 of them, and they're to be used in Africa, not in Ukraine, not in Russia, but they're to be sent to Africa. Their primary task is to kill African leaders that are friendly to Russia, that make deals with Russia, that are friendly to Russia. Isn't that nice? Doesn't that make sense? It's like, we are going to tell you who your friends are, and if we don't agree with your friends, it's kind of like, gee, Mom, can I go out with Billy? No, you're not going to go out with Billy, or we're going to kill him. I don't know. So, here's something interesting here. Actually, this is artwork. These trees, I looked at them earlier when I was walking through here. It's actually made of metal, and there's lights on them. I wonder what this looks like at night. There's a few of these here, and they look like trees. You can't tell until you get right up next to it. I was wondering, because I've seen trees with bark like this, you know, that's shiny and silver like this. And but this is artwork. Fascinating. Very creative artwork. I don't really like a lot of this garbage stuff that costs a lot of money that nobody can really tell what it is, and it's sitting in some prominent place where a lot of people go by. But this one is pretty good, at least. Mimics nature a little bit. Yes, indeed. But anyway, the leader of this band, but take in mind again that this is a mastermind by the MI6 in Britain, but the guy, his name is Vitaly Truschek. I bet you dollars to donuts that this guy is a Ukrainian. They even had his picture in there, kind of a young guy. He looks like he's maybe 40 years old or so. Smiling, looks really nice and relaxed. But anyway, he's got a successful record of liquidations. In other words, he's been involved in a lot of assassinations. And it really makes you wonder, well, who? I don't know, lightweight people, or is it a lot of leaders? But a lot of assassinations. And he's like 40 years old. I don't know, maybe he's not quite 40. It looks like he's a lot younger than I am anyway. Yes, did I say it's about 100 Ukrainians? He also worked for MI6 in Zimbabwe. So it lets you know that the Ukraine has been working with intelligence, saboteurs, assassins, for quite some time now. That's not just since the military operation. So the UK has already been involved in destabilizing Zimbabwe. MI6 and Ukraine have worked together. And the West is willing to use any means necessary to stop the influence of Russia in Africa and elsewhere. In the old days, we were told this was to stop communism, but Russia's not communist anymore, even if they might try to tell you that it is. Like I said, there's a vlogger. I don't know if he's changed his mind since then, but he's vlogs, and he's in Belarus. At least a year ago, he was saying that this is a communist system. You know, communist. When in fact, there really is no communist system on earth, not even China. A lot of people say China are far better capitalists than the capitalist countries. But in truth, all systems are hybrids. There is no pure capitalist, pure socialist, pure communist. Everything has to be a hybrid, or else the people aren't going to be that happy. But in truth, I think what the US is doing, and the West in general, they're trying, now this is going to sound funny, they're actually trying to stop the spread of democracy. But what is their system? You know what their system really is? Their system, and this is economic system, is fascism. Look up the definition, the original definition of fascism, but of course now it's changed. Now it has something to do, like I said probably in the later videos, just recently, has something to do with your skin color and your religion and things like that. It never did before. That was never how fascism was meant. It's, you know. Think of the transatlantic partnership. Now that was fascism on steroids. Remember Nancy Pelosi, you know, when they were talking about what that's going to entail? You know, they were signing this bill, and look, I tell you, that's one lucky thing about Donald Trump coming to office. He ripped it up, and they were just about ready to sign this. And one of the things that came out, and get this, I don't know, I got to be careful even when I say this one, because I'm not allowed to talk this way, as you know. But one of the things that came out about this agreement, even though it was, you know how democracy works. Everything has to be done in secret until they sign the bill, and then they release what it's all about. After you can't do anything about it, it's already too late. So that's how democracy works now in the West. Boy, you can't make this stuff up. But anyway, the thing that was exposed was that, for example, they used an example in this, that if, for example, maybe there's a sickness going around, some sort of a flu, just a flu virus or something like that, and somebody invents a vaccine. I'm not allowed to say that word. I'm not allowed to say that, maybe. Now they're going to watch my video. This is not going to be sent to anybody that's not a subscriber. That's nobody but my subscribers get these videos anyway. So anyway, but just say for example, some virus comes out, and then they create a medication against, you know, to stop this virus or whatever. And just say they inoculate the first 1,000 people and 800 of them die. You have no means to get any, I don't know if you want to say, I'm going to say it's not reward, it's a, you are not allowed by law, and this is almost a global law. This is the transatlantic partnership, United States, Mexico, Canada, all of Europe. You are not allowed by law to say take this company that made these this medication to court. You lose. Everybody loses. And they're allowed to keep on making this medication. Isn't that great? Well, that's how that works. That was the transatlantic partnership, and a lot of people heard about that. Like that was said in Germany, and a lot of people rebelled about that. And even if you didn't want it to pass, they were still going to push it down everybody's throats. Talk about democracy. I don't know if many of you remember those times. Yeah, but I was, like I said, I was getting ahead of myself a little bit earlier, but this new variant from Croweed is called Iris, found in South Africa. And a lot of people, you know, are talking about this, the next one that's going to come. Old William Gates said there's going to be another one. You heard that already. He's the one, by the way, funding a lot of these laboratories in all over the world. Still, he didn't give up. He's still doing this stuff. And Biden, just in July, just last month, he had created this pandemic preparedness response policy, the PPRP. And there's a general in Russia that released a huge amount of information. I watched like about 7 minutes of it, and you have to keep up, you know, reading the subtitles about what he's saying. And you know, they've been gathering this information for quite some time since the military operation, because what they're getting from a lot of these laboratories. But his name is Kirillov, General Kirillov. You know, he's talking about that the documents they've discovered during this op, it shows that the U.S. military, well, everybody knows, they're involved globally, collecting all possible strains of these viruses. I wonder why it's the military doing this. Gee, do you think that the military is in charge of military matters? But don't worry, they won't use it as a weapon, because YouTube will make sure to make that they're not using it as a weapon. any of these sicknesses. Jeez. So mostly that's all I would have to say about that. You have to do a little bit more research on your own. I get myself in trouble if they really come after me. I wonder if I can make this light. So let's see here. A little bit of action, the action scene here. I made it. So Wednesday, which was yesterday, and this is what I wanted to put out. I can't remember, I don't know if anybody else reported this yet, because this happened in the afternoon. Russia had neutralized 4, what do you want to call them, terrorists, saboteurs. Again, that word comes up. Anyway, they had neutralized them in this area that is called Bryansk. Look, these people go by here. Well, this area of Bryansk, and then there's a district. Did I write down the name of that district? I don't think I did. But anyway, nevertheless, I guess this is an oblast, but there's a district in that oblast where they captured, actually they neutralized, and there's video footage, and then it shows what these people had. Drones with stickers on them that said, you know, the Russian FSB, like, you know, the FSB is like the CIA, sort of, you know, and Russian flags on it, but yet these are Ukrainians, and they have these drones, and it looks like they're brand new spanking drones. Lots of guns, you know. There were some grenade throwers, and I saw there was silencers on the weapons, so that they can fire these weapons off, you know, say make assassinations, and the sound is either non-existent or very low. So it was like also with a flash suppressors, so you don't see the flash if you shoot at night, and don't ask me how I know this stuff, and there's no sound really, or very little sound. Maybe it sounds like a poof, poof, a little bit of a air sound is all. And so anyway, they had these weapons like this. I could not really tell what weapons. I don't think they were American weapons. I mean the rifles. So I'm not off on a lot of weapons, but I did see they also had plastic explosives. So these people were really well equipped. And then later on today, I found out that now they have 5 of them, and it turns out there were 6. So originally they got 4, and I was believing, at least from what the news said, that there were only 4, but apparently there were 6, and by now they've got 5 of them. I don't know if they tracked one of them down, if one got away or temporarily got away. I don't know. So, but what I was saying of this district in Bryansk Oblast, isn't it strange that it's very close to Belarus, to Gomel, and that they had these Russian symbols on these drones, you know, and if they were planning on using these in Russia, I don't know that the Russian people are going to think, you know, since it is actually close to Ukraine as well, I don't know if they're going to believe right away that this was from Russia. You know, why would they, you know, attack their own people? However, what about Belarus? What about Belarus? And they were going up north. They were going up to where they're getting further away from the Ukrainian border, to where it's only a border between Russia and Belarus. And with all these symbols on that, I don't think anybody has been mentioning that, but I tell you what, dead men tell no tales, and so far 5 of them of the 6 are caught, and they are all dead. So we're not going to be able to ask them what they were doing. and what their target was, but I highly suspect it wasn't in Russia. Just, that's my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents. Okay, isn't that a coincidence that they use that area? It's much further north than even Kharkov, where they went across that border. So just, you can find it yourself, you know, you can get a lot of information when you look at a map. It tells you a lot more than what words can tell you. So, and also, can you believe how it is in Ukraine? Did you know that they now legalized pornography? I don't want to be saying this stuff when people are around here, but now it's legal. And you can't believe how they're expanding that now. They're now turning themselves, the government, I guess, I don't know if you'd call it, but they're the biggest pimp establishment on the face of the earth right now, because injured Ukrainians in hospitals now, they send in lots of these girls. Some of them, apparently, from what I saw, I guess it was an interview, or maybe it was some news blurb from Ukraine or whatever, but I think he has maybe found himself a new partner. Of course, when he took advantage of this program, his girlfriend left him, and apparently he said he has a new partner. So, but he lost his, I don't know if it was his wife or girlfriend, I can't quite remember. But anyway, somehow she didn't like that. I don't know why. So, there's a lot more about that, you know. You heard about Zelensky being pissed off about all the people partying, the rich guys, the guys that paid to avoid the draft, you know, there's not that many of them. It looked like by the videos, you can find them yourself, you know. Apparently there's a lot of them out there, and it shows like 5 women to every 1 guy, if not more. Looks like mostly it's a lot of women dancing. But anyhow, and he's trying to tell them to go to the front lines. It makes you wonder, what would you rather do? Sit around dancing with a bunch of young, beautiful women, or go running through a minefield? Not a very, I don't know, is that a difficult decision? You can die for your country, I suppose. Also, another thing, another part of this. So now that this pornography is legal, and they're really trying to expand into this in Ukraine, they are also looking for disabled veterans to star in porno films. Like, I assume there's maybe certain parts of your body they want to still remain intact, but maybe they're giving a new lease on life for a lot of people that lost other limbs of their body. And I don't know, is that a bad thing or is that a good thing? I tell you what, if I lost some limbs and like I said, I'm not gonna be too harsh on these guys that take this offer. So, money, limos, posh birds, fame. You know how that is. And you can get your exercise while you're at it there, so you don't even have to take out a membership in a gym or something like that. One statement by Medvedev, you know, it's like that he just said, I believe it was yesterday, and it's like, you know, goes into our conscience, and we all knew this, but we couldn't connect our brains to our mouths necessarily. But the United States, one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why they really don't want peace in Ukraine is because some people are making a lot of money. A lot of money, not just the Ukrainians. Everybody knows that Zelensky is tremendously wealthy now. He's far, far above Donald Trump. I think about a year ago, he had the same wealth as Donald Trump. I guess that was according, I think it was according to Forbes or some place. You know, he owns virtually all of the media in Ukraine. He owns all of it, basically. Probably the film industry and the newscast, everything. He owns all of that. And you all know that he's got a huge collection of houses And like I said, I think I only know about three of three in the United States, and apparently he's got them all over in most countries. Billions of dollars worth of homes if he was going to sell them. And he's got a lot of cash and a lot of people. I think something just came out the other day that his food bill, what was that? I suppose it's a year, is $2 million. $2 million of, I believe it was a food bill for a year. If I don't know if I'm getting it right, but in any case, it's a huge, huge number. I don't know, maybe it was 2 million in a month. No, it wasn't a year. I'll tell you what, I think it was 2 million a month. $2 million a month is allocated to Zelensky's food bill. That's what it was, 2 million a month. Incredible, just incredible. It makes you wonder, you know, powdered sugar can get very expensive sometimes in a war zone, you know. Because I've seen that he had powdered sugar somehow. I think there was some pictures of that. You know, he was probably cooking a little bit. You know, you get it on your hands or something when you're cooking, and then like you wipe your nose a little bit or something, and it gets kind of on your face like that. I think I've seen some pictures like that. But a lot of people, you know, they know that. I remember that in St. Vincent and the Grenadines when once the customs were searching a boat that was coming up from Venezuela, and they're fishermen, but they don't have any fish, and they never have any fish. But actually they were, let's just say, they were smuggling some diesel fuel all over the place, and they would bring it to the hotels there because the hotels, I think it was a lot cheaper from Venezuela than it was from a lot of Western sources. But they never had any fish, these fishermen. And the customs people went towards the boat to do some searches or whatever, and then a gun battle ensued, and some St. Vincent, you know, the island St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in case I didn't make that clear, because I was living on an island in the Caribbean called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But anyway, these boats that would come up through there, and they would, the customs people, they went to search this boat, and there was a gun battle, and I think some of the customs people got killed, and somebody saw them throw something overboard, and then, as you know, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is great, great, great friends, you know, for good reason, with Venezuela. At that time, it was Hugo Chavez who was the leader of Venezuela. But anyway, some divers went down to see what was thrown over, and it turns out it was some sort of a bag with white powder and then a weight tied to it. But yeah, it was washing powder for clothes. That was what was reported, you know. I don't know whatever happened to the evidence, and then let these guys, these fishermen, go back to Venezuela to come back at some later time to stand trial. But nobody ever knows when that trial took place. I don't know, it never seemed to have materialized, and we all forgot about it. So anyway, that's how things work in the world, you know. That white powder, things with white powder, I think they should put a ban on everything that has white powder to it. Powdered sugar and even salt. I think it's, yeah, I think it all should be, well, I don't know, maybe they can color anything to be different. Yeah. Okay, now we have, there is a brigade in Ukraine, called the 82nd. Isn't that strange that we have an 82nd in America? And they're also airborne. They also jump out of airplanes, air assault type. And as a matter of fact, they're also stationed over there somewhere. They're stationed in Romania officially, but isn't that weird? They did a bombing at one time in some pizza place or something, Russia did. Turns out that some of them, they just happened to be on vacation in Ukraine. You know, I mean, who wouldn't want to go there? Someplace in the middle of Ukraine, right near the war zone, you know, to have pizza with and their generals, some generals, U.S. generals are even in that area. You know, so it must be a real popular place, that pizza joint wherever they were at. So anyway, the 82nd Airborne of the U.S., a couple of them were there too, and of course some other units, but they were just there on vacation. Trust me, you know. But now this the 82nd of Ukraine, normally they were supposedly holding these people back for when they were going to do the oomph, the real oomph, you know, the real thrust, you know. Don't make any comments what I just, but anyway, so when they were going to do the real action, the 82nd of Ukraine was supposed to be getting involved in that. I guess part of this offensive, you know, but they held them all back, and now they are sending them. They're sending them, and these are the real bad boys. You know, we knew when that counteroffensive, and they're going to be to the Azov Sea in 2 weeks, and now, you know, now they're sending in the real bad boys. So, you know, just you wait and see. All these other predictions, you know how they've come out. Let's see how good this one is going to be. These guys mean business. So, and of course they got some big guns too. Yeah, so. Did I miss something else stuck here? No. So I'm coming towards the end of this. Before I do, I don't think there's going to be any new people watching this, but if there is, go ahead and subscribe. You know, I'll be coming up with some new stuff. Oh, and before I forget, also, I was going to tell you, I was almost going to have to get a haircut. I was talking about this in some earlier videos, and then it was postponed. See, this was supposed to be in July. It was maybe towards the beginning or the middle of July, and then it was like postponed until like 15th of August. Well, now we have the 17th of August today, and that call never came. But what was happening, I don't know. It's not that I've been rejected as kind of a temporary job. It's because I don't think they're getting their things together. A lot of problems, because this is a industry and there's a lot to do. And I'll tell you what it is. I was supposed to get a part in a movie. I was supposed to play a German officer, and of course you can't in World War II, and they somehow, I don't think they had hair like me in World War II, so I would have had to get my hair cut. And of course I was going to say, well, first I definitely have to get that part before I'm going to cut my hair. And but it was supposed to be determined, I guess, by 15th, and it didn't come about. So they still haven't gotten this, and I don't know that it's ever going to happen, but I don't have anything against now telling you what it was all about. And you know, I hate to say I'm going to be a star. Limos, fame, lots of money, posh birds, women, in other words. Not the little birds that go tweet. Anyway, but that didn't come about, apparently, and I don't know that it ever will. I guess because I speak German and I look German, and du verdammter Schweinehund. And I did a little kind of a casting thing, and I didn't talk like that. I won't even get into what that was all about. But I don't know. I don't know if they're ever going to get it together. Probably has to be in the summertime. I don't know. Maybe in the fall. I don't know. But I have something else that's come in between, and that looks a lot more positive, and it should be in September. So we'll see about that. So also some other news here about Belarus, except for instead of talking about future movie stars in Belarus, let's talk about, I was saying one of the things that I didn't like about Belarus, when there's not that much, honestly, there's not that much, you know, and I don't even know how to tell a lot of the people that get brainwashed here in Belarus that it's how good it is here. But one of the things that I did have a problem with is now kind of getting corrected a little bit. The pensions, I was saying pensions are kind of low, even though I would maybe never get a pension myself here in Belarus. I don't know if I'll ever be eligible, for one thing. I'd have to take care of myself. I realized that some time ago. And but anyway, the pensions will be going up. A lot of these young, older people, I mean, that maybe they put into the system a lot of this during the Soviet years, and things are tough, and you see a lot of older people selling vegetables and butter and things like that, and so you know, to supplement their income. But anyway, it's going to be going up. Their pension's going to be going up starting now, like 5% on the 1st of September. And I presume that when Belarus continues to get a little bit more prosperous as time goes by, their pensions are even going to go up a little bit more. But you see how, you know, the grass is kept and things, flowers, you've been seeing things like that. People have to be doing that too, and anybody who's like unemployed and things like that, they find you some kind of a job, even though it may not pay that well. But if you don't have a job, you will get a job. They will, you know, you'll get a job in Belarus, and I wish I'm going to be getting a job, even if I'm a foreigner. You know, they're not, they don't do this there's not that much pressure on foreigners necessarily for that. But in any case, what was I going to say? Yeah, I'll probably be working, but I wish I could have gotten more into a Russian class. But Belarus is not a place where they have so many foreign people coming here, so they don't have a like a government class to teach Russian people that's very inexpensive. So most all of this is private or done through universities, and the universities are not as expensive, but the private lessons, people they want 20 rubles an hour. Let me see, what is that? I don't even know. You can figure that out. Look online. It's let's see, that's one, two, maybe, let's see, I don't know, is that 2, 6, I think it's over $10 an hour. So that's, to me, too much. I was trying to think of ingenious ways for me to learn Russian on my own, and I'm, for a large extent, have a lack of discipline. You know, sitting inside and trying to translate texts. I'm kind of starting to do that, but we'll see. Okay, UBS, you know, this financial institute. There's something that says BSB up here, but it's not the same one. But they reported that Russia is very quickly getting richer and the USA is getting poorer. And of course, the whole collective West is getting poorer. Everybody knows that Germany is getting drastically poorer, and things are going to be accelerating more and more. And then it makes you really wonder why, when people are going to stop going to Germany, believing that that's the land of prosperity. It's going to maybe take a little bit of time, but as industry seems to be leaving the country, and energy costs are high, and anyway, you can go into a big spiel about that. But as long as it takes, for as long as it takes, to the last Ukrainian, you know how they love the Ukrainians. They're so willing to make sure, to the last Ukrainian, till there's only one Ukrainian left, and that will be Zelensky on the top. No, they actually won't. They'll get rid of him much, much quicker. Probably be Podolyak or some of these other people. You know, get rid of them. So, you know, there's some people sleeping on the job here. Let's see if I can show you. Posh birds, limos. Anyway, there's a couple posh birds sitting there. But that's about all I have for right now. And I thank you very much for joining me. And I'll see you for the next one. So, bye-bye.